Traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Well, the market has bounced off support once again. This 1395 area has just been huge. We closed down there, but we have rallied overnight. We're up 9 points. So if you were buying off support yesterday, you're pretty happy this morning. We're going to focus on some key resistance areas in your top S&P components. We were talking about support yesterday. Today, we'll talk about resistance as the S&P starts to get to the upper end of this range again. We're going to look at earnings from ZUMZ, ZUMZ, and SPLK. We'll also look at Facebook here. It's starting to break down again, making new lows in the pre-market. Joel, what do you think about this market?
I guess it's easier said than done. It comes down to the last Friday's low. Actually gave you two shots. It came down there yesterday, 95.25, and got a little bounce. Sold off near the end of the day. Closed near there again. Gave you another shot to buy it in the morning, and here we are, 10 points higher.
This 1395, this whole 1390 area has been absolutely enormous. If you go to early August, we had multiple lows in this area. We bounced down there last Friday. We got down there yesterday. We are bouncing again today. It's just huge. You cannot short this market until we start to cut through that 1388 number that we have been talking about. If you keep trying to short in the 1390s, you've been wrong multiple times. The trade is not working. It's just basic technical analysis. The stocks just continue to bounce off this 1395 area. I'm not exactly sure the drivers. You've got the euro up. You've got the European banks up. Those help. You had a good Romney speech. That helps. So I think it's a combination of factors. And obviously Bernanke speaking today, and nobody likes to be short ahead of Bernanke.
Yeah, now the question is, what do you do now? Now we're going to come up and we'll talk about a lot of resistance points. First resistance point we're going to start with on the show today is yesterday's high, 1407.75. The reason I'm mentioning that is because it was also the last three closes were in the 1407 to 1408.25 area. A lot of consolidation along with the high there. Big range so far in the pre-market. Getting through this 1408 is critical to the survival of this bull market.
And some individual components there too, Joel. I know you were talking about this Wells Fargo 34.25 area. You talked about this a couple days ago. I think you might even mention it again yesterday. Well, here we are. We're at 34.06, so only 20 cents away from this huge resistance area, 34.25 in Wells.
Yeah, what did you hit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 6 lows between 34.21 and 34.28.
Yeah, the highs.
Highs. I mean, I guess you got to short it if it gets back up there again, right? Until it stops working. This stock's been stuck in just a little over a point range from the last month. Should be interesting to see if it can finally get through that level today.
Well, and you got Exxon Mobil too, that had multiple highs just above 88. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of highs at 88.19. You had 188.40, 88.19. We're at 87.99 in the pre-market just on light volume, but it is bid up at 87.76. So if it starts to sniff over 88 again, you come into another resistance area on that one too.
Yeah, there's been that crazy algo between 88.19 and 88.41, just been peppering the market, getting a big boost in the pre-market. We were just talking. I said, man, the stocks really don't look up that much. And then you said, just wait. And here the people are waking up and taking out offers. This stock is opening a little bit high for my liking. I might wait to see get a pullback to yesterday's high at 87.70, maybe to nibble on a long.
Just beautiful resistance up there, though. Like I look 1, 2, 3, 4 highs just above that 88.25. So like you said, there's some type of institution that's been selling up there. I mean, it gets back up there and rallies a buck right into resistance. If it was to do that, it'd be a nice setup. I don't know if it's got the legs to go up another 30 cents here in the regular session, but you got to look for those setups, and that's a nice setup for you if it does get up there. Let's move on to a couple of the earnings plays, and we can touch back into the Big Ten after. ZUMZ, which is ZUMZ, I think that's how you say it, the sports apparel store there, is trading down 12% here in the pre-market. They announced earnings 7 cents against estimates of 13, so pretty big miss for them. They lowered guidance as well. Not good if you're a shareholder of ZUMZ here today. It's trading 28 and a quarter right now.
Wow, this stock is definitely in retreat. Did you get those 28 and a quarter prints? Were those some prints this morning that you got on that? Yeah, 17,000 shares. My trade station's not picking that
Yeah,
up.
so it's trading there right now, 28 and a quarter.
Oh, I can't even give you a pre-market low. Just going to the monthlies here, you did have a low in this area in the 28.37 in February of this year. So I would take a look at using that 28.37 as a swing number.
Another one that just reported here this morning, and it's rallying, is SPLK. I'll get you the daily here. The stock actually moving up quite nicely here in the pre-market, up 16%. They're a software company that analyzes web data, so I guess you could classify them all into this web field. 1 cent is what they made against Oh no, they lost a cent. They were supposed to lose 3 cents. They upped revenue guidance just a bit, 45 million to 47 million from 44.6 million, and that's why the stock's rallying $4. So it wasn't a huge beat, but man, stock is getting a nice lift. I look up here in the 36 handle. I know you're going to point this out. You had a high at 36.33, and you had multiple highs just above 30 or in the 37 area back in April. So 37 looks huge to me here.
Yeah, looking at pre-market activity, this stock is getting a huge boost here. You really have to take a look at the highs going back to that $37 level. This stock has just been absolutely all over the place. It just seems like it just wants the gap wherever it goes. You have that island top up there at 37.57, so you'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, 37.50 is really where the high end of this is. It's been as high as 36.20 in the pre-market, now at 35 and a quarter, but this thing tacked on another couple bucks could be a nice setup from the short side. SAIC company, which is symbol SAI, they are splitting their stock into two companies. One's going to be a solutions company, the other's going to be a systems type of engineering support company. Stock is trading up at 12.68 right now after closing at 11.81, so it's getting a nice lift. This low beta, low volatility stock really getting a lift here this morning.
SIAC?
SAI is the symbol on it. SAIC is the name of the company. SAIC would have been a smarter ticker symbol, though. I always type when we hear this stock, I type in SAIC too, but it's SAI as the symbol.
Well, we broke above some nice resistance here at the 1206 to 1207, 1210 level. We're trading smartly above that. You did have a high in the stock at 1268, currently where we're trading back on April 11th. Going up to there, you might get a chance to sniff the $13 level today. 1288 was a high on April 5th.
And there's Facebook. The market's up 9.5, but Facebook breaking down, making a new low here in the pre-market. 1878 is where it's trading at right now. The old low is a little bit below that, but it got lower there in the pre-market too. It was down the 1860s just a few minutes ago, but it is trading down. I've got a price target reduction at BMO. Somebody else said Bank of America lowered estimates. I didn't see that come across the wire, but that was just tweeted out by somebody. But BMO reduced price target on it as well. So this stock not looking good again.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the consolidation in this thing, and which it's done on a couple of occasions, and I was thinking, well, maybe take a look at these 19 calls, maybe it's putting a bottom in here, and lo and behold, just more bad news on it. Made a low in the pre-market at 1870, currently trading at 1877. I guess it's a low-risk buy off the open if you want to, use his 1870 still. If you're still not convinced it's taken out.
That thing starts trading 1860. Get the hell out of it, though. Don't let it start making new lows in the regular session. If you want to try to pick a bottom, say, oh, the old low. What is the old low? 18?
Yeah, the old low was 1875.
Okay, well that's got to be your bogey. If that thing starts making a new low in the regular session, we're trading right there right now, an hour before the open at 1875. It starts to make a new low in the regular session. I don't know if I'd short it because there's too many people that are bearish this thing, but definitely don't be long this thing when it's making new lows. Never a good idea. Who knows where the bottom is on this thing? I mean, the other thing is like you got to think about companies like even Twitter. Like I looked at and even my wife. Like I used to use Facebook a little bit. My wife used to use it a lot. She doesn't use it nearly as much as she used to. And I'm hearing that a lot of the kiddies are using Twitter more than Facebook now. So I just don't know if I love Facebook as much as maybe as much as I don't know if I've ever really loved Facebook, but either way, it will have a bottom here eventually. But if it's making new lows, don't try to pick it. Wait for it to make those double bottoms. So if the 1875 holds and you want to make a long, you can use that as an out. But if it starts breaking through there, I would not be long the stock. Let's speak about a good company here, Google. We were saying yesterday the 680 is enormous on it. It traded down right to it yesterday. 680.18 is where it got to, and bouncing off of there this morning, it's up at 680.650. So if you were picking up that 680, it would have been good.
Yeah, 680.18 was a low from yesterday. Still got a high of the move at 88.99, so you'll have to keep an eye on that. You got to believe there's going to be some resistance here going up to all the way up to the $700 figure. The stock has just been defying gravity up here, and since they don't have any earnings, to knock it down 50 points coming up anytime soon, you just have to go with the trend.
And what about the trend in Apple? Is that broken down now? It was a pretty ugly day for it there yesterday. The stock did have a breakdown day through that whole 670 area that we were talking about. Got as low as 663. Is that it's bouncing here this morning 667? But is this a bounce that we should be selling?
Oh man, it's if you're just gonna ask me if it's the top, then you can't really can't base it on yesterday's activity. Kind of traded down to 662.85 yesterday, getting a little bounce. You really have no major resistance in this thing up till yesterday's high is 671.55, and it gapped down from 672.60. So if you're trying to short this thing, just between the 667 and 670 level. There's really not a lot in there.
Let's go back to a few of the Big Ten here. Procter and Gamble is one that I just wanted to talk about just briefly here. That stock has topped out multiple times just above $67 here. If we're looking from yesterday's action, it was trading a lot in the 60 or 2 days ago. It was trading a lot just above 67. Big resistance up here in 67.40 area. You got lots of high frequency traders up there leaning on a big seller, institutional seller at 67.50. I don't know if it has enough gas to get up there today, but 67.37. This is topped multiple times just above 67 here, and it appears it might trade up in the 67 handle again this morning.
Just a longer term perspective on this one. You going back to February, really February, all the way through the beginning of April. You just hung up around this level, making highs, tight ranges, and then they had some bad news and knock it down. And now it recovered up with the Ackman news, and I guess they had some better earnings. And now you're just getting the whole major consolidation thing again. Keep an eye on that institutional size there at 67.50. The high of the move so far has been 67.37. You hit that on August 27th, and you also visited that on August 17th.
Nice resistance up there. Johnson & Johnson, here's the stock that we've talked to 68 has been huge. I don't think it's got enough gas to get up that high here today, but we just want to highlight these areas. This is a pretty actually ugly trend here that's starting to happen here in Johnson & Johnson. It's starting to break down. And obviously continued to break down there yesterday, getting a lift. I always like stocks when they've been breaking down and then they get a little lift on the macro, the overall market. Sometimes that'll give you a nice entry point. And I think in the high 67s, if Johnson & Johnson was to get a little bit of gas here, I think it would be a nice entry point. Even look to 2 days ago, the high 67.83. I think you get into these mid to upper 67s, you're going to find sellers in this one. What's your take there?
Yeah, we got a little minor resistance at 67.41. That was yesterday's high. That's your first stopping point. Not a lot of resistance between that and the 2-day high at 67.83. And then you got multiple highs just under the $68 level.
Yeah.
The 22nd, 23rd, and 27th. So you probably got a big order kicking around there at 68.
Yeah, I think so too. So I think your high frequency guys, they love to lean on those institutional sellers, and they'll probably be selling in the 67.90s. So if you're selling the 67.80s, maybe you got lots of resistance to lean on there from the upside. Any other ones here in the Big Ten? I know Chevron was kind of breaking down yesterday too there through that 111 area, got down and closed at 110.93. Is getting a little lift here in the pre-market. Maybe this is another one that you'd look at as a bounce to sell?
Well, it's opening right into Wednesday low, Thursday high was right in that 111.60 to 69 area. The only problem with shorting it there is you really don't have a
Not
lot
much.
of cover. Yeah, I mean you're taking a shot there. I mean you're either going to make 30 cents or lose 40 because there's probably not much in the book between this 110.60 and the
112.
112
Yep.
level, and then you start to fight, in the 112. You had 112. 44, which was Wednesday's high. But what was more interesting about that stock yesterday was that 110.70 number, which was a low on August 6th. We got down there on another occasion, and then yesterday you slipped right under that 111. You closed right there, and lo and behold, you're getting a bounce. So you got a real good reference point on the downside here if you're long-term holder Chevron Corporation and looking to protect some profits.
Well, here we are. We're on the last day. Obviously, Bernanke speaking here at 10 o'clock. That's obviously going to be a little bit of a market mover, so you have to keep that in mind. But where do you think we're going to head here when September comes back and all the traders actually come back from their vacation? Are they going to come back with their selling shoes on, or are they going to come back with their buying shoes on? Because I don't think we're going to continue to see these 4, 5, 6 point intraday ranges here. We're probably going to have a little more movement once September does come around. It's going to either be to the upside or the downside. What's your take?
Well, also, you have that September buffeted by November where you have the election. I think there's going to be a lot of jockeying in the polls and, on TV commercials and things that are going on. I think this market could probably stay in a pretty narrow range until the election, until we break down through that 13.95 and a quarter level. I know we've talked about the 13.90 handle and whatever, but right now, boy, you couldn't ask for a better bogey than that 13.95 and a quarter. If it holds up today as a low, it'll be a triple bottom area, and you still just have to be leaning to the long side, until that area is taken out.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Until that area where I'm drawn it here on the chart, you get that whole 1390 to 1395 area. Until we can start getting through there with some conviction and really start to sell off, I just think you just got to play this market continue from the long side here. It still seems to be the path of least resistance. But if it ever was to get through that 1388 low there, then all bets are off from the long side.
Yeah, big difference with the way we're trading here at the 1400 handle as opposed to when we traded there at the end of the March and also at the beginning of May is we're hanging here. We've
Yep.
got up to this level, and the last few times that we've got up here, it was very, very short lived. And now there's consolidation here, and I don't want to start sounding like these guys on CNBC, but you could be building a base here in the stock, perhaps for a move up to 1450.
Yeah, we've had the whole month here of consolidation, so you're right. We're consolidating. We're going to go one way or another because there is a lot of people that have positions on from this area. So huge reference points all the way from 1395 up to the 1420 area, really. So let's play it, continue to play it, possibly from the long side if it holds, and if it starts to break down through that key support, I'd get nervous with the longs. That's our show for today, folks. Have a great weekend, great long weekend. We will be posting some stuff up over the weekend, obviously, but we'll be back with you for our regular show on Tuesday morning. Have a great Labor Day.